What happens after death? Could we ever come back?
I think there is some likelihood of life after death.
The answer may come from children, remembering a life before they were born.
Our work provides evidence that we should strongly consider the possibility of reincarnation.
Embark on a scientific search for evidence of reincarnation. Listen to the stories of these children who remember a past life.
Everybody was asleep when the fire came. Mommy and Daddy could not get me out. I stayed with the fire. The fire was hot. I know Mommy and Daddy will be happy when I come back.
The memory of a child. Not of death, but of a new life. Is there life after death? An age-old question. At the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, scientists are investigating claims of reincarnation. For over 40 years, they have tried to explain the accounts of young children who speak of a past life. Stories like the one of this girl, who claims to have drowned and is now reborn. Or this 6-year-old boy, who thinks he used to be a New York policeman killed in the line of duty. Or this boy, who remembers having lived as his own grandfather. There are thousands of stories like this, and Dr. Jim.Tucker has gathered many of them.
We're investigating cases of very young children who spontaneously begin talking about previous lives. They usually begin between the ages of 2 and 3 and continue until the age of 5 or 6. We're looking at these cases to learn as much as possible about this phenomenon.
Jim.Tucker is preparing a research trip to meet one of his subjects, a child claiming to remember a past life.
Gus Ortega is a little boy in Colorado who has talked about being his grandfather. This began when he was 18 months old, and he's made a number of statements that seem quite specific. This one is a stronger case because the child has made some very specific statements that it seems very unlikely he could have heard through normal means.
Gus Ortega's case is only one of many.
We've been studying these cases for the last 40 years. We've now collected over 2,700 cases like this. These cases have been found all over in Asia, in West Africa, they've been found in South America, in Europe, and the United States, pretty much wherever they've been looked for.
The most convincing cases, however, are found on an island south of the Indian subcontinent, in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, a mystical place. A place also where people believe strongly in reincarnation. Most of the island's inhabitants are Buddhists. One of the reasons may be why there are so many cases of children remembering a previous life. Professor Erlendur Haraldsson of the University of Iceland, on his way to visit his best case. He has spent over a decade studying the possibility of reincarnation on this island.
Sri Lanka is a good place to study cases of children who speak about a past life, because here you find a few cases every year.
And Haraldsson's cases are more convincing than any American case.
The cases in Sri Lanka and in the United States differ in several respects. First of all, in the States, these are mostly in-family cases. Here in Sri Lanka, in family cases are rare. I've only had a few. And secondly, the details seem to be greater here in this country.
What makes Haraldson's cases so intriguing is that the children remember not the life of another family member, but that of a complete stranger. Haraldson crosses half the island to meet with his most fascinating research subject, a girl by the name of Diluxi.
This is a very interesting case because Diluxi was talking about memories of a previous life for almost 3 years and doing so persistently and repeating the same story over and over again.
The little girl Haraldson is about to meet shocked her parents when she said that she was not really their child. She claimed she had another mother and father elsewhere.
She was saying that she had lived in a place near Tambulla, and there was a stream there. She had fallen into a stream and drowned.
Haraldson hopes the trip to meet Diluxi may yield some answers.
I was always interested these images or thoughts or behavioral characteristics that are sort of out of tune with their present life. How do they arise? How do they come into these children?
In a place not quite that far away, a hospital in America. An old man is dying. And a young boy believes he is this man reborn. Gus Ortega is a normal 6-year-old. Like most boys, he cherishes his time with his dad. But this relationship is different. Gus remembers that he played with his dad in a previous life. Only then, he was the father, and his dad was his son. This is the case that UVA scientist Jim.Tucker is investigating.
Whenever I go to see a case, I go with a certain amount of skepticism. I never go with the assumption that this is reincarnation. And that's also the same approach that I have with the work as a whole. We're here because this is an interesting phenomenon, so we're trying to learn as much about it as possible.
Catch it! Oh, good job!
Grandpa Augie died in 1993. His son Ron found him lying on the floor in his home. A stroke. Grandpa Augie died 5 hours later. He was a shopkeeper. He sold everything people wanted to buy, and he loved his family. But he never met his grandson, Gus. Gus was born 1 year after Grandpa Augie's death. One day, when he was just 1.5 years, Gus was alone in his room with his father.
Ron came out and told me that he just finished changing Augie's diaper, and that he looked right up at him and said, "You know, Dad, when I was your age, I used to change your diaper."
I was flabbergasted, to be honest with you. I thought it was just kind of strange, especially the choice of words to say that phrase, "when I was your age," for this little 1.5-year-old toddler.
He started talking about Grandpa, and you know, just the little things he was saying that we knew he couldn't have known because he never met Grandpa.